Hey guys, welcome back to another Train Like a King podcast episode. Just want to say a big thank you to all of my listeners, especially those of you who have listened to pretty much every episode. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for for putting up with my voice. And really hope that you find these podcasts useful. And if you have any ideas for future episodes, just leave a comment wherever you're seeing this, if there is a comment section. And I'm always in need of new topics. Sometimes I run into a bit of a wall and not sure what you want me to talk about. So in this episode, I'm going to go through my upcoming race season for 2024. And then I'm also going to touch on some of the international races that are on this year that I wish I could go to. I mean, I wish I could go to every single one, but it's not very plausible with my current situation. I just have to be selective, and pick the right races. And it's not a bad thing to be grounded at home as well, because one of the things of traveling and racing a lot is one thing that gets put on the back on the that doesn't get attended to is the training side. One good thing about being grounded somewhere for a long period of time is actually you can focus on really building, in your training, your fitness, things like that. Whereas it's pretty hard to do if you're traveling a lot, racing a lot. You end up with more of a, I guess, balanced performances, because you're not really ever getting if you're tapering and peaking for races, then you're not giving yourself enough time to really build and break plateaus and forge another level. So it's not a bad thing that I'm not super busy, but yeah, at the same time, it's pretty awesome to to race, as I'm pretty sure most of you are aware. Now, I'm going to start with a few local races here in New Zealand. So on the calendar, coming up in 2 weeks' time, we've got the Aotearoa Aitor. This is probably, for me, is one of the more significant races. 24 kilometers for the open division, but there's also 12 kilometers and 6 kilometers, so shorter courses for different divisions. That should be a good one because it's the first time they've had this race in a while, in a few years' time. So it's really cool to have that one back. And usually this race has a free ticket to Tahiti, for the junior 19s, male and female, and open male and female. So I don't know if that ticket is still available or not, but awesome if it is. And either way, it'll be an awesome race anyway, because it's the New Zealand equivalent of the Tahiti Aitor. So that's going to be fun to have that one back. And it's also the last trial for the elite men's qualification selection period. So big job on my hands post this race. The Sunday after that, we have some trials as well. So big weekend. What else we got? We've got the Hard and Fast series at Earnshaw Park. There's a few of those races, in April, May. There's the other one series is I believe down here in the Mount is the Moau Ocean series. Actually, that starts in June, so that's something to keep your eyes on this year. If you're looking to just do smaller, races, local races that keep you fit, you don't have to necessarily peak for. You can just chuck them into your training, and it's a bit of fun, but good experience and good fitness building races that aren't too long either. Especially if you're training for the sprints, it's always good to have a bit of threshold work in there, race pace work. There's the Icebreaker. There's the George Pormana Memorial Regatta Series. I don't know if I spoke about the Whangaroa Hoi on the May 11th. TNT Waitakere double header. Taupo Te Wheke Challenge. Oh, there's a race in Taupo, which is pretty cool. If it's downwind, even better, because I know there's awesome downwind conditions on that lake. Experienced that for the first time last year. Now, that's pretty much it. There's a lot of races between now and the main one for the year. So the main one for me internationally is the IVF Va'a World Sprint Championships in Hilo. So both elite and club and V1. So that is my main focus as a coach and a paddler between now and August. There's not a lot of races on the cards for me other than the local races of the Aitor and Whangarohoi or some of these series races. I am not doing the Molokai solo this year, unfortunately. I just didn't really make it a priority this year, but maybe next year. So that's it for the New Zealand calendar. I'm going to skip over to the Kanaka Ikaika racing schedule to see where some of their most important races are. So they've already started with the state championships have been, I believe. Did they have the state champs? Or the Koanui at least, anyway. The Koanui over there, they've got the Oahu Coastal Relay that's on the 30th of March. So is that this weekend? The state championships, must be the following week. So that's coming up soon. And then they've got the Molokai Challenge. And that's in May 19th. So the Molokai Solo, normally they show it here. The Pa'a Solo, Kaiwi Solo, is May the 4th or 5th. May the 5th. Or is it the 4th? Sorry. I can't read the American dates here, but so Pa'a Kaiwi Solo, Molokai Tuahu in May, and then they've got the Molokai Challenge after that. So Molokai Challenge is more of the surf ski, but has OC1 as well, run by Maui Jim, I believe. And then Pa'a Kaiwi Solo is mainly OC outrigger that's run by Manny, which is an awesome race. And good luck to everyone going. I'm very jealous, very jealous. The M2M is earlier. That's earlier in April. That would be awesome. Another awesome race. And then there's the Kaiwa'a Strong race, which that's a Maliko run. One of the best downwind courses you can do. So thoughts going to Kai Bartlett at the moment. And yeah, so that's the main one. Kaiwi Solo, the Pa'a Kaiwi Solo, the Molokai Challenge, the M2M, Kaiwa'a Strong, the Outrigger Zone State Championships next week. That's all going down in Hawaii. Now, please don't ask me about the actual Molokai 6-man, because I don't know, and that is later on in the year. We can talk about that later on. Let's just talk about the races between now and World Championships. So that's that. And then we skip over back to the US. So we have one of the most prestigious races happening at the moment is the Gorge Downwind Championships. Now, this is happening in July 8th to the 13th. And now I believe there's both 6-man and OC1 races, or surf ski races as well, if you paddle surf ski. Now, this is one that I'm a little bit tentative on. I mean, I would definitely go if I can. And there's enough time still to get to organize things and race well. And although I will be focusing on the sprints, it's still possible to get over here for a week and do a bit of downwinding and have some fun and tick this one off the list, because I've never done this race. but it looks like one of the best races in the world. It's up there. It's up there with the Maliko runs, the M2Ms, and for its surfing. And yeah, that's all I'll touch on there. And then we'll skip over to Tahiti. Now, let me just pull up their calendar for 2024, and I'll highlight some of the big races because I know that their races have started, but their big ones will be coming soon. So let's just look. I know that they just had their sprint qualifications for Hawaii, and I believe Revitong Singh was first. Hiti Tuataidea was second. There was Te Moana Taputu was third. Hotu Itere Poroi was fourth, and there was a couple of other guns there. So they're looking pretty good for Tahiti in their representative V1s. And I imagine that they're likely going to be in the sixth man as well. They'll probably put a team together with the V1 recipients. Now let's have a look at some of these races. So in April, they've got the Talifit Bora Bora. So that's V1. They've got Arimatatini race in Rangiroa. In March, they've got, so that's just happened. That's the championship sprint stuff. Now let's find the big ones. Okay, so on their calendar at the moment, this is the year of the Tahiti Nui Va'a. So if you don't know what the Tahiti Nui Va'a is, this is a 3-day race similar to the Hawaii Nui, but it's 3 days around the island of Tahiti. Now, this one, although it's a changes race, like you can change, so it's like a 9-man race, or it might even be a 12-man race, and you can change during the legs. It is a longer race than the Hawaii Nui. So Hawaii Nui is about 130, 40 kilometers in total. I want to say the Tahiti Nui is like 180 or something, but don't quote me on that. But just know it's longer, and it happens every 2 years, unlike the Hawaii Nui, which is every year. So it's cool to see the Tahiti Nui back again, because that one's a really cool one to follow. 3-day race. Now, the main V1 races we have on the 1st of June is the Save Va'a V1 marathon race, organized by the likes of Steve Tehotata and the paddling community. Everyone that follows Va'a in Tahiti will know about the Save Va'a race and the origins of it. And yeah, so that's happening on the 1st of June. That'll be a big one. And then the Te Ai Tour is scheduled for the 7th and 8th of June. Now, since the Te Ai Tour only have one date on here, I imagine that they're only going back to the singular weekend again. I haven't looked into the Te Ai Tour, but remember last year was 2 weekends. First weekend was in Morea, and the second weekend was in Tahiti, Mataia. Now, it will be interesting to see the results. I mean, the schedule for the Te Ai Tour this year. And again, I'm not closing the door on the Te Ai Tour Save Va'a. If my sponsors are willing, if you're listening, you're willing to send me over there, hint, hint, then I'll come over and I'll race hard. So there's that. There's the Vodafone Channel race, which probably marks the first proper V6 race of the season. That's in the 15th of June. VIP race, which is V1 and V6. So that's where they start to, after the Te Ai Tour and the Save Va'a, obviously there'll be a few paddlers that head over for the sprints, but then it'll be pretty much 6-man season from there then onwards, working towards the ultimate Hawaii Nui at the end of the year. So that's pretty much what's happening in Tahiti. So that's Tahiti. Main races in LA, US, main races in Hawaii, and main races here in New Zealand. Also here in New Zealand, we have our long distance nationals later on in the year. So let's see, that's in Gisborne on the 3rd of October. So that's something to look forward to. And yeah, plenty of racing on the cards. Plenty of racing on the cards. Let's just go back to... So if the Paakaiwi solo is on the 4th of May, that basically... that's like 5 weeks, if that, 5 or 6 weeks, if that, So it's not very far away. So I will finish this podcast saying that the new training plans are up. And there's everything from 4-week training plans to 16 weeks. So even if you just decide to do the Paakaiwi solo now, you still can pick up a program and just do that final peak phase for the solo, and you should be good to go. Especially if you're an experienced paddler already, it doesn't take too much to get back into shape. You just need to go into that race healthy. That's the main thing, because it's a race like no other with its distance. You have to go in there with a good race strategy too. Now, for some of these other races like the Gorge that are a little bit further away, then looking to the longer plan, like a 16-week, 12-week, something like that would probably suit you better. Now, I will admit that I have been talking about the team training plans. I am working on them at the moment, just trying to make them really valuable for teams. The previous plans were more individual racing, and I'm really trying to create value for teams in the team training plan. So really hoping that I can get those finished in the next 2 weeks, because in a couple of weeks, it's going to be exactly 16 weeks until the World Sprint Championships. So if I can at least finish the sprint team training plan, then I'll have something for all of yous. There was a lot of people who finished the survey on the team training plans, which was awesome. So I know there's a lot of people out there looking for team training plans. So stay tuned. I just need to put my A into G and get them finished for you guys. And we'll post them up when they're ready. And yeah, anyway, guys, that's it for this podcast. Thank you guys for listening. And if you have any, like I said, any topics for future episodes, just throw them in the comments section, message them to me, and I'll make sure to try and cover them in the next one. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Train Like a King podcast. Check out trainlikeaking.com. Merchandise, the new paddles, collaboration with Thai Paddles, the new merch, new training plans, and everything else. Ka kite anō.